WWE is scared to do this with Sami Zayn. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what that is and why they're scared of it. Because I've been following Sami Zayn over the last decade, even going back to his ROH days, as El Generico, his PWG days, his NXT run, and obviously on the main roster. And what Sami Zayn has been able to prove is he's been able to prove the doubters wrong, except for WWE brass. We've seen him reach heights that some people thought was unachievable for him, including a run with the Intercontinental Championship in 2024, dethroning Gunther as the long-standing, long-reigning champion at WrestleMania 40. We've seen him be able to mix it up with top-tier talent, including Roman Reigns. We've actually seen him share the ring with Roman Reigns as an opponent, but also as an alliance member as part of the Bloodline. They went back to that well in late 2024. Him and the Usos and Roman Reigns going up against the New Bloodline, Survivor Series War Games, and most recently going up against and ultimately falling short to the hands of Drew McIntyre at Saturday Night's Main Event in late December. Sami Zayn's a guy that has always been able to resonate with the fan base, both as a babyface and as a heel. He's an outstanding character worker, an outstanding in-ring performer, and one of the best talkers in the game today. However, despite all of the accolades, despite all of the success, despite all of the fanfare, all of the praise in which Sami Zayn gets, he's never been the guy in WWE. And that leads us to today's video, because I was thinking to myself, as we go into 2025 WWE, well, they're also in a new era, because we are going in the Raw on Netflix era, January 6th. And that also brings the return of a 3-hour Monday Night Raw, a 3-hour Friday Night SmackDown as they expand back on January 3rd. And it got me thinking that there is a lot of talent in WWE. There's a lot of talent they can elevate to top tier status. And I think that Sami Zayn can be that guy. I think WWE is scared to make Sami Zayn a top guy. There is this glass ceiling in which Vince McMahon famously quoted, and he's been one of those guys where when you're an upper tier mid-carder, right, you have to break through that glass ceiling. Some talents can break through that glass ceiling and become main eventers, and others just simply bounce off of it and fall back short and stay in that range. There's levels to this game, just like in anything in life, and Sami Zayn is in one of those boats. Does Sami Zayn necessarily fit the mold of a top WWE star? No, he doesn't. Does he fit the mold of a top world champion or a WWE champion? Of course not, right? I think most people would agree with that. Would it prevent him from having at least one reign as world champion? No, I don't think so. Kofi Kingston got a run as world champion, and countless others have as well. I think Sami Zayn will eventually get a world championship run just because of his loyalty and his tenure with the company. The reason I think WWE is scared to make Sami Zayn a main event guy, a top tier guy, is because simply they don't see him as that guy. They don't see him as that mold. Despite the fact that if you want to ask him to be a babyface or a heel, he hits it out of the ballpark every single time and makes whatever you give him work. I mean, heck, he worked with Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania 38 in 2022, and that was one of the best matches on the card that weekend. I think the fact is, Triple H has his set of guys in place right now, just like Vince McMahon had his set of guys in place when he was in charge. And Sami Zayn, because he does not fit the mold, they don't see him as a top guy. If you look at where things lay out right now in the top tier landscape of WWE, we have Gunther, a big guy. We have Cody Rhodes, a big guy. We have Roman Reigns, a big guy. Sami Zayn's not a very big guy. You look at guys that are on the rise, whether that's Braun Breaker, even Jey Uso's a pretty big guy as well. You look at established talent as Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, and I'll hear some of this. Well, CM Punk's not a big guy. He's different though. Like, he has promo ability that is a main event type talent, and he already has equity within this company, right? I don't think Sami Zayn has necessarily the promos that can get him over to being a main event guy in the eyes of WWE. Because, look, creative is subjective, and likability in terms of who is and who isn't a main event guy, it's also subjective. It's opinionated, right? You may have a different opinion than I. Not to say that I don't think Sami Zayn can be a main event guy. I think he can, but I just don't know if WWE views him as that. And this is coming from a guy that has followed Sami Zayn's career for a long period of time, like I was saying at the top of this video. I wish that they would have been able to execute a little bit better on post Sami Zayn Intercontinental Championship run, because he's kind of just he's almost all lost in the ether, right? Like he did the program with Braun Breaker, that was okay. Well, that was really good. And then, I mean, heck, he's still working Braun Breaker at house shows in late December. They don't have any house shows until mid-March now in Germany. But then he goes and he's paired with Jay again. And it's like, okay, this is kind of a rehash, but okay. And then they do Survivor Series War Games, where he's once again aligned with Roman Reigns and the Usos. And he gets a win in Survivor Series War Games. It's like, oh, okay. But then what happens? Well, you need someone that's a top-tier talent in Drew McIntyre to beat. And so Saturday night's main event happens, and Drew McIntyre beats him 1-2-3 singles match, right? And now, seemingly, they're moving on to Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso. Once again, Sami Zayn kind of lost in the ether. Now, sure, he could hold on to the tailcoats of Jey Uso while he feuds with Drew McIntyre. They could easily do that, and I expect that to happen. But as we go into 2025, I really would like to see someone like Sami Zayn be able to give the opportunity to go out there and work with main event talent, go over main event talent, and elevate his game to main event level type talent. I think he has the prowess. I think he has that in him. He just has to go out there and prove it. He has to prove it to Triple H. He has to prove it to the other members of the WWE main roster creative team. And maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea to kind of break him away from Jey Uso as we go into 2025, right? Because right now we have this transfer window. It's their take on a transfer portal. Maybe because SmackDown is going to 3 hours, maybe you move him from Monday Night Raw, which he's been on for the last 2 years, and you move him over to SmackDown again. You disassociate him with Jey Uso and kind of make him his own man once again. I'm not talking about turning him heel or anything, just kind of get him his own, let him stand on his own 2 feet and go from there and see what he can do on his own as a member of SmackDown, and just kind of revive him a little bit, and maybe, just maybe, he can break through and he can be a main event type talent, because they're going to shift a lot of talent over to Monday Night Raw and load that up as much as possible. So you're going to need names on SmackDown, especially when they're going to 3 hours.